peace, totally devoid of any rancor, totally devoid of any breach of the peace. He was not happy because that will end his regime on the 27th of August. And then he came up with a bogey, a phony excuse. He then induced the ABN, Association for Better Nigerians, and Nzeribe to approach the court to stop the pronouncement of the results, which results were already known to all Nigerians on Saturday night, because every electoral commissioner in each state had already declared the result in his own state, and all that NEC needed to do was to take a calculator and add up all the figures in 30 states of the Federation. Babangida will not want the Nigerian people's verdict to be respected. So he defied it, ignored it. It's a slap on the Nigerian people's face. It's a slap on the face of God. Because God for once gave us the freest election in the history of this country and destroyed all the bogies, all the myths.
In spite of the court injunction, the election went ahead successfully. Again, General Babangida's body language. On the strength of that same infamous and corrupted court injunction, Babangida annulled the election. When he bowed to public pressure to end his 8-year grip on power, General Babangida told a restive nation angered by his unending political transition program and his unpopular annulment of the June 12 presidential election that he was stepping aside.
The federal military government, on the most unconvincing and disingenuous premise that the judiciary court itself decided to cancel the election and its results, I say categorically that this decision is unfair, unjust, and consequently unacceptable.
The measures which followed the sidestepping showed that General Babangida perhaps hoped to someday return to the main track once the conditions were right. His body language. General Babangida installed an interim national government headed by Chief Ernest Shonekon. The composition of the interim administration included General Babangida's Chief of Defense Staff, General Sani Abacha. This was greeted by a widespread public outrage. The agitation for the removal of what was later described as the Babangida contraption became intensified. The interim national government was soon to be proclaimed illegal by a federal high court in Lagos. General Babangida's perceived proxy in the national government eventually announced to the nation that the head of the administration had resigned.
Chief Ernest Shonekon took over as head of state and commander-in-chief of the Nigerian Armed Forces at the most trying time in the history of our country. Politically, economically, and socially, there were lots of uncertainties. Things appeared bleak, and the atmosphere was heavy with uncertainties. However, driven by the belief in himself, his countrymen, and love for his country, he accepted to face the challenges of our time. I would therefore like to take this opportunity to pay tribute to him for his selfless service to the nation. Consequently, the following decisions come into immediate effect. The interim national government is hereby dissolved. The national and state assemblies are also dissolved. The state executive councils are dissolved. The brigade commanders are to take over from the governors in their states until administrators are appointed. Where there are no brigade commanders, the commissioners of police in the states are to take over. All local governments stand dissolved. The directors of personnel are to take over the administration of the local government until administrators are appointed. The National Electoral Commission is hereby dissolved. All former secretaries to federal ministries are to hand over to their director generals until ministers are appointed. The two political parties are hereby dissolved. All processions, political meetings and associations of any type in any part of the country are hereby banned. Any consultative committee, by whatever name called, is hereby proscribed. Decree 61 of 1993 is hereby abrogated. The Provisional Ruling Council is hereby established. It will comprise the head of state, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
General Abacha assumed the reins of power in what has been described as a palace coup. The army general started another unending political transition program which drew the ire of the nation and the international community. In diplomatic circles, Nigeria assumed the status of a pariah nation. Civil disobedience, which began under General Babangida, assumed wider and more violent dimensions. 8 years before, on the 27th of August 1985, General Ibrahim Babangida had laboriously tried to justify his forceful overthrow of the government of General Muhammadu Buhari in a bloodless coup.
Trying to explain the issues, and we had an overwhelming support to do exactly what we think is right.
A stupefied populace could not come to terms with the Babangida intervention. Not many were convinced with the reasons adduced by the coupists, and there was not enough time to assess the Buhari-Ijagbon administration. The Buhari government had spent only 605 days in office when Babangida struck with a firm agenda. Tom Mbeke Ekanem is an author, and in his book, Beyond the Execution, he wrote on page 28, beginning of quote, IBB never lived up to a single pronouncement that he made. Perhaps more in frustration than admiration, Nigerians nicknamed him Maradona. Babangida dribbled Nigerians with his surprise moves for the sole purpose of remaining in power and ensuring his survival and that of his posterity. End of quote. Tom Mbeke Ekanem may have recorded the assessment of several others in his review of the 8 years of General Babangida in power. The Guardian, in its editorial of September 4, 1992, concluded that the national economy was in far more dire straits than it had ever been before 1985. Quote, yes, it is obvious today that the economy is in even more dire straits. The debt burden has tripled. Hyperinflation ravages the land. The productive sector is shell-shocked, and the astounding paradox is the legacy of the SAP years. End of quote. Again, the Babangida body language. On the 31st December 1985, 4 months after he seized power, he told the nation that his Structural Adjustment Program SAP was necessary to lay the basis for the correction of certain defects in the economy. The entire Babangida economic program was woven around the Structural Adjustment Program. The program contained policy measures aimed at achieving the basic aims of economic reconstruction, social justice, and self-reliance. Although the government recognized the pain that would go with the Structural Adjustment Program SAP, it pushed forward the argument that it was necessary to lay the basis for the correction of certain defects in the economy.
The level of production was nowhere near what we need to have a strong currency, and that's the main reason. And when I came in, up to the time I left, we were able to manage it, and I left